Hello guys, this is another Bizarro Report. This one I decided it was time to do one because I finished some fundamental things that finally gets me very close to a point where I might be able to start working on the actual game as I fixed the majority of the technical things that had to be done and even something more that I surprisingly finished. I mean, it's still work in progress, but I finished the primary parts really fast the previous days. Also, previously I completed my 256-bit area, a way to store areas in the map in split them in 250 at maximum 255 different areas for better visibility and bigger levels. Previously it was 32-bit areas because I was storing a 32-bit number with bit flags, but now I have massively changed the method, and I even did some concatenation of common visible areas from different blocks recently. And that's after I was doing this code seal where I was kinda working on that, and that was halfway there. And now this is even more complete, and it works really well now. But today, actually today and 3 4 days ago, I fixed the most important part, which is, and that might be the last part. Here I had a list refactor. I might close that. This is done. This was the important. This was a major. The other major was this. It's this. I still need to make some tweaks in this one, of course, to add a few extra functionality. But the thing that scared me, that how to take the existing static geometry and make some crude editor. That's only on the PC. And I actually did it, but I don't operate on the 3D mesh that is gonna run on the 3DO. The trick I did, I thought of an easier way that is very crude and very slow, although I can make it a bit faster, which is, instead of, at least when I'm on editor mode, that is only on PC, it's not on 3DO. I'm going on edit mode. I have these extra functions. I'm gonna call prepare grid map world edit and not, previously I had, where was that? Prepare grid map world. Here I would find the number of areas from the grid map, the block data, and I will create as many meshes. So if we are 30 different areas, maybe we are 50, we can have till 255 if we want, but we won't go that far. And I would collect the blocks that are on the same area and build separate geometries, a very optimized mesh where only the polygons that will be visible will have the static geometry. And my problem is, if I was to alter the geometry by clearing blocks or adding blocks, that wouldn't, it could be kinda tedious to make it work code wise. Unless I change the data structure, I don't know. I had some ideas recently. Maybe for a future game, if I make a future game with dynamic like Minecraft, right through Minecraft. But here I just want to create the maps on the PC. On the PC, I don't care much about performance for my editor. I'm only going to use it. So on the PC, I'm not calling this one, but I need to call it at the end to save the actual mess for the game. But before calling that, I'm calling this one on the PC if it's on edit mode. I have all that stuff that they don't go on the 3DO side. I have mouse wheel, edit clear block, edit set block, set flat block. Mouse control, if you click left, right, middle, you're gonna alter the grid map in real time. However, what's the trick? On the editor mode, I said fuck it, I'm going to loop over high depth and width 32 by 32 by 32. And I'm gonna create an individual cube in each gen mesh cube for every block. But that's a lot, that's 32,000 individual cubes with 6 sides. That's a lot for the 3DO. 3DO would die. It wouldn't even fit in memory of the 3DO. But here on PC I'm just gonna malloc and so this helped me for an editor because now every object I might add it as a separate object to the wall with a visibility area, and if the material is 0, I'm gonna hide it. I did something else recently. I have 255 areas now, however, I have special. The map go from area 1 to 253 if I want it. It will not go that far unless I make a very big map. But I have reserved, I have said 0. If something has area 0, it means you should always hide it. You should never show it. If you want to always show something, you put full vis area. And then I have a reserve for the stars. So at some other places where I check this 256-bit number and decide whether something is visible or not, depending on the camera, on which block the player is sitting and which areas should be visible, which number of which many areas. It's gonna be a list of areas for every block. And I have used this one for the cubes here with the 3DO engine, so I can hide or show the cubes. Anyway, enough talk is enough. Now, I'm gonna tell you why things are missing. I'm gonna start this. So this is the editor, and we are not rendering the cell now. If you go here, you see textures are installer. We are not doing cell rendering. We are doing regular rendering on PC with a fine mapping. That's why textures are distorted in diagonal. And I finally have something like a pointer which I want to improve because it's still janky, and I can finally I can finally design maps. And if I press, I'm gonna do a highlighter that highlights the polygon. I have to hack the engine a lot. If I press here, for example, the right mouse button, it's gonna put, if I look at that there, it's gonna put it there. Okay, I'll remove it. Now there is another thing. If I do the mouse wheel, do you see on the right side change material? Let's see 5. Ah, that's nice. So I can go there and put, no, it is janky. I'm gonna improve that, but now I can actually work on maps. This is the amazing thing. And it's janky because you don't know where. And I will have to go to material 1 to. I will make it so that I highlight the size. Now, suppose you want to put, okay, material 4. What is material 4? It's this. Okay. You see, it also has the tiles of, for example, it has the tile which is from the other map. Okay, suppose I want to change this gem to something else. If I press right button, it's gonna do that, but I don't want this, I want to change. Now, normally I would have to erase it and make it like that, but now I also have middle mouse button if I want to not add more blocks, but change this one to the material. You see? This is amazing. And now I'm gonna show you something. This is the outside, and you can look the outside. And it's still okay. You see 72 frames. However, what's the difference? That in 3DO, this mess, you would not even be able to go outside. But this mess, there would be only the polygons that are visible. But here, every cube has 6 faces, and I have all the faces, even inside. You can see you weren't supposed to see the faces inside because I did it like that. It's several cubes that are unique objects with each other, and if you see, you might see some artifacts with the sorting. You see some flickering because faces that are inside and they should never be visible are still. And that was enough for me to be able to do the editor things. This was the amazing because it was very tedious for me to do anything, but now I can do it. I can do corridors for nothing, and I'm gonna improve it. The other thing is I cannot set up the areas yet, the unique areas. I need some visualization with some color. Also, this is a bit clunky, but this is big news. I can finally design and I'm gonna show you the thing about the render. You see, there is no lighting now. I need to find. I just don't know how to connect certain things here. Okay, that's what I wanted. I did it. I finally did it. We did it. And here's the thing now. I also did today I could only draw. I also did that if I press F6 now, it actually saves the mesh and you will see a pop-up. And now there is also collide. For some reason there wasn't a collision before, but it was okay that there wasn't a collision. But see now, do you see that things are popping up? Why? Because when I pressed F6, the regular mesh was built, and now you have both the regular mesh and the new mesh. You have two cubes on top of each other. This is very bad. Oh, and you even have the star. You didn't have the star. So when I pressed previously, I said if it's editor mode, don't build the regular mesh, but put those separate cubes so that I can remove and add the cubes. And when I remove and add cubes, I'm also altering the grid mesh, the not the grid mesh, the blocks, the grid, the regular voxel blocks, the grid block data. By the time I pressed F6, the grid mesh, the mesh was generated, saved, but now it's on top of the editor. I have to fix this thing. I have to say destroy all the cubes when you press F6, or maybe make something that you move from one mesh to the other and back. Because also you see everything is bright because I'm not using the cell render that has the shading. I'm using an affine texture map because if I use the cell rendering with all this cube, it's gonna be a lot. I've tried it and I was like 10 frames. I'm gonna show you soon. Now I'm gonna press F5 to build the visibility. I'm gonna improve that. I'm gonna make it so that you can easily switch from one mesh to another. I'm gonna add some shading even on the affine mapping, and it is safe. So what do I mean? We're gonna see the saving, but let's see. So I finally saved here. I'm gonna copy it. This is exciting news because I can very easily, not with the procedural generation with code, but and I want to fix a bit the interface because it's still not perfect for some things, and there are some issues. You might see some issues now. What I wanted to show you, uh, we are on edit mode. Oh, okay. Also, if I run this now, it's gonna load the original, and the the thing I edited is not here. You have the original map again. There is no new stuff, and also for some reason collision doesn't work on. I thought collision was based on the block data, but there is no collision because I never built the mesh. Unless when I build the mesh I also start adding the collision. But the collision happens on the block data, and there are block data here. It should be happening already. So what I haven't done here, that's the next thing. I have to save the things. I'm on edit mode. If I put regular mode now, oh no, fuck. Oh, sorry. That was the wrong place. I'm gonna change that. I have if def edit mode all the time, all the place. I might do a new, like you have release debug. I'm gonna do a release edit mode and debug edit mode. I'm gonna do something so that I can switch. And now we're gonna play the actual. I'm gonna load the new thing I did, and we're gonna see it. And now there is lighting. There is smooth lighting. Look at this, my lights. Look, I have this and those. those flowers do push me. Moody lighting here. I'm not going out because the level is gonna end. It finally works. I can very easily. Oh, okay, but here you see the problems, or not? Did I make? Ah, no, that's not the problem. That was I really dug here. I don't. Oh yeah, I dug here. Did I do something here that is interesting? Maybe not. So I'm really. I think there should be something here because I did. Maybe I didn't. Ah yeah, I did this one. Where was the thing that I did? Ah, here. Yeah. Oh, dark. Did I not calculate? Oh. Oh crap. Also, something else I did. I still need to fix something with the particles. But now the particles are gonna disappear. When the life of the particle ends, they do disappear. I did this by using this empty viscera and full viscera and said for the particles I set the particles to empty viscera when they are dying. So the billboard renderer will see its individual code and say, okay, the area is 0, so I'm not rendering this. And this is the same I use for the cubes, but the cubes, you have this area value. So there is the area value that is an 8-bit number from 0 to T55, an individual object, or it could be a polygon in some cases. I don't use this, I use it only for the particle, for the billboard. And I can mark an individual object or polygon with some value that says you should hide yourself, you are invisible, you are always visible, or you belong to an area because the particle is on a block that has a certain area also. And also the blocks have this bigger number or this sequence of cars that I extract into the bigger 256-bit number, but the stored one are much smaller, and that says from this block this and this and this and this area are visible. So you know everything that belongs in this area should be shown, else it should be hidden. So so that's the exciting. I can kinda render stuff, but I'm gonna show you. Okay, is this edit mode? Ah yeah, I have to go back to edit mode. And as I say, right now I'm not saving, that's the next part. I should make a very simple file format to save the edited block data. I don't need to do the complicated one that is for memory on the 3DO. I could use the same, I could reload that one, but because now when you start, you have the original. So in edit mode, on main, there it is. If it's edit mode, in the very beginning, Look what I had here on the emulation. I have the real cell render. This is the real cell render, and it does a lot of things. And it is much slower than a simple texture mapper, how you would do it on PC. And this is the dummy where I could literally and I did some other crazy thing. I can literally let me do that here. Let's do the hack here. Because I've changed the way. Oh, now everything is a wireframe, but there are also non-wireframe. What the hell? Ah, it looks. Why is it? Ah, because okay, because oh, yeah. No, I'm gonna hack it. So, what is this cell render dummy? This is something I did for without the because the real one is the cell render. I need to render the way the 3DO works. But at some point I decided to make some alternative modes which let me render with wireframe. Now this is rendering the whole thing with wireframe, and you can still. I could say I could do flat polygon. Now I used to have some buttons that I would press. Now these are flat polygon, however, they have the same shading. I haven't done something with the shading. If I had the lit version, the 3DO lit version, you would be able to see. But recently I did something else because I wanted to be able to control it. I said I created some dummy. Now this is on cell render dummy. This never goes to the 3DO code. The SDK is holding the real values, and only on edit mode I said I will hijack some of the CCB flags to alter rendering so that the dummy renderer can switch to wireframe, to flat shading, and so on. So this is like an extension, but the thing, what I did though, because I might still use the cell, I got this CCB reserve. I got the ones that probably I'm not gonna use in the regular game, because if I switch from one to the other renderer and something is reserved, there might be issues. So I did something like that. So, and I did it because let me show you fast. Because on the editor code, here is the editor stuff. I have the cube pointer mesh. I initially tried to switch it to a wireframe and try to make it bigger, but that doesn't work very well. It kinda. I need to do it brighter. Are you see? It doesn't have Z buffer or something. I will do it brighter. I wanted. Here it works like a selector. but it doesn't have the good occlusion. When you go here, it's confusing. So this is why I added the CCB in there. But I also tried another. I also said, instead of setting this cube pointer obs to where it should be, I set flat block. Now this pose is the position of the selected block. I set it to flat. And now I have something that could be better for a selector. Like, okay, here. However, I need... Now, if I press to put something, I don't see what I'm putting. If I change the material, because it's... Yeah, I have to put something that is blending with the existing thing. But the good thing is that I have the definition. The flat block is setting the mesh self-lines on the cube with CCB flat, false and true. Also, I keep the previous block index, because if I don't do this, what will happen is that it doesn't set back the original textured state. So now I'm not even clicking, and that was the reason for that. The good thing is that I have reserved certain CCB with some imaginary, my own hijacked CCB. This used to be reserved in the original SDK. This is not used. This is useless. This has to do with the parallelization of the cell. These are things that I don't touch. All of this can be easily touched. Because if I use some of the other things, even the dummy renderer, now the cell renderer might call the dummy renderer, because the cell renderer, if it's wireframe, render cell wireframe. If it's flat polygon, render flat poly. If it's texture poly, but with the affine mapping, I still have to decode the cell bitmap. I still have to call a function that is up here that does, okay, how many bits per pixel? Is it palletized or not? Is it compressed or not? Decode line might check if packed. You have to unpack it to do the unpacker. Else, if it's raw, go like this. Else, if it's palette, you have to use the palette. And this thing is decoding the lines, and I still need to do it, even if I'm not using the cell renderer, because the texture has all kinds of formats. The difference is that the cell renderer, the heavier cell renderer, that is doing way more than a simple texture mapper. It's doing texture mapping, but the way it's doing it with the forward rendering, it's very, very slow. It's not slow for the emulation of the... Oh, and I'm gonna show you that. Yeah, that's where I was going. And I was showing you that I can change the renderer. And this is the regular render cell, and I say if dummy cell is on, this is a boolean, then you go to render cell, else it goes to the regular one. And I have some other one there that goes experimental. So let's go to what I wanted. So now I added this now that if it's edit mode, I want to change. And the flip dummy cell test, this goes false, it's gonna set it to true. But look what happens now Now we are gonna go for true cell rendering. True cell rendering, guys. There is no point. Oh my god, the frame rate is already tanking. Because there are so many cubes and they have 6 sides. You see the frame rate is 16. I could have kept this for an editor, but... And this true cell, you see, there is some distortion, but not... Or for example, if you put second map, maybe. Yeah, I quickly realized I cannot work like that. And this is the amazing thing, because I I think I can create slightly better mesh still. I have some ideas. You don't need to show all the cubes with all the 6 sides. But this render dummy thing, I did it for fun at some point. It wasn't even needed. And now it's fun. Suddenly it's needed. Suddenly it was a good idea. Because I can switch to that. And it's much better. The thing is the fill rate. Also, direct cell. What is direct cell? Direct cell is a simplified version of the cell render where I'm not doing it slower, but I'm not doing lighting. It only works with 16-bit textures. It's like I realized most of the stuff are 16 bits. Most of the or actually no, those textures are 8-bit and 4-bit. I don't remember. It's a very simple. Yeah, it's a simplified cell that only reads the. It doesn't do the blending. It doesn't do the. It works with limited. Now, if you do this and the Maria test, this is the funny thing. Maybe even put that one. Everything is Maria. Everything is dots. Everything is dots, and I can even build stuff. Everything. It's still slower, but everything is made of dots. Such a dense amount of dots. This is amazing. But the good thing is that I set it to that, and now you have the simple affine text. It's still software rendering. I could have tried to use OpenGL or something, but I need to set up a lot of things for this one. So I'm not going there. I have some ideas on how to, but I might not need to do that because now I have my editor, man. I just need to fix certain things. Oh, I'm gonna show you something final. Now, when I'm building stuff, okay, let me revert. Let's put the cube. What I wanted to say, I had something in my mind now. God. Yeah, yeah. So, what happens when I make a cube? The cube was already there. I just had it hidden. I just had a flag that says this cube you should not, because the material was 0. When I remove it, the geometry doesn't disappear. I don't want to reconstruct the geometry. It would be more painful to reconstruct in real time, or I would have to think more. Now there is a geometry in every space in the grid. There is a geometry. Just that if it's an empty space, material is 0, but then this is where the area sits right now. This could be area 1, this could be area 2, area 3, area 4. The empty space is where I start counting areas upwards so that the polygons that are adjacent to the areas can be put in their own different meshes, and I can know that from here I only see area 1, area 2. I see some blocks from area 2, some empty space. The solid blocks have area 0. I just put the 0. Like there is nothing to show. I mean the blocks in the block data. Now the geometry, because this block is adjacent to this empty space that is marked with area 2, this block belongs to area 2 or the mesh. When the main game runs and I have to do the visibility, this is how it works. Now, but however, what the editor is missing now, I want to be able to edit the areas. Because now, if I start digging, all of this will have, the empty space will have, the area I'm sitting here is gonna be copied. And I might want to go and alter the area. I might want to manually draw that this corridor belongs to this area, maybe some fluid fill. And now I'm gonna show you something. Here, I'm going through all the blocks and I say, I'm gonna make I was making a cube for every one of them, but I was hiding them. Because if I go here, if material is not 0, the vis area is full area, unless it's surrounded. This is another optimization. Oh, look. If I don't do that, then it's gonna be even more slow. That was how it was. And you see, I'm going into blocks, blocks, blocks everywhere. Everything. But the majority of blocks outside, even the blocks that have solid, that have material, that they are not empty space, the majority of blocks are surrounded by other blocks. So why not hide them? Imagine how slow it goes. So at least I go through the material and say, okay, if it's grid map blocks surrounded, then the vis area still will be empty because there is no point. So that was a good one. And the inside, where the material is 0, the inside, the living space where the player is moving, I just hide it. However, if I say, no, you must show it, but I have this cube div. When I generate the cubes, I'm gonna set it to maybe 8. And now you're gonna see that I will even see the inside. I see little cubes for the inside area. Now outside, you don't see little cube because those empty areas outside, they are really solid. They are solid blocks and not empty blocks that I'm just hiding for the player. But here is the living space. Here is where the player can move. And if I start deleting, that doesn't work, of course. Let's see. Oh, oh, little cubes. They are little cubes. They are little cubes. CB cubes. Yeah, you see the problem. CB cubes. Anyway, the reason for this visualization is because, and I might think of alternative way to visualize. I will need to paint this cubes or visualize it. This is very design. I will need a way to see that those living spaces are area 1, those one are area 2, those one are area 3. I will need to paint that stuff. That's my next thing. How am I gonna visualize the if I want in the same way I'm adding blocks and removing, I want to mark the new areas. Maybe I can do it automatically with some code. Maybe I can do it with something that goes through regular areas and subdivides things. I don't know. But it would be nice to be able to paint that, you know. Right now, for example, if I maybe even leave edit mode, hope this works. I don't know if, oh, let's see if this works. I used to do it on the editor mode, not the regular mode. Okay, it works here too. Good. Or maybe it doesn't. Okay, that's not correct. It doesn't. Well, I used to paint with different colors the area, but this is not true. This is taking now. Unfortunately, I need to do it in edit mode, and this might not work anymore. Because I'm not rendering the regular mesh now, I'm rendering the cubes. Or will it? It's not. It's yeah. It's not working. It's not what you think. Okay, if I want this to work, it's not gonna work. I have to revert to the. Actually, I'm gonna do something. I just had this idea. When I'm saving the mess, I'm overlaying them twice. Let me find. Let me find. However, I don't know if it will still work. Uh, I might just have to leave it now. I might have shown enough. I'm gonna change the priority. Just to make this work. So this grid map mesh is only on the 3D. It's not on edit. Although I used to say edit mode build grid map mesh. See, there are so many paths. In 3D, I'm gonna load the mesh. In non 3D, I'm gonna build. But now it's on edit mode. And if I'm on edit mode, I never call that one. If I'm on edit mode, I'm gonna call this one now. So it never goes there. However, in edit mode, if I press F6 is gonna save the grid mesh data. And how does it do it? It also calls the prepare grid. Now I did it like that, so that it finally builds it, and that adds it to the wall. But now we have the other option to the wall. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put the priority higher, so that this is rendered last when I press F6. However, we are in flat mode. Let's see what happens. F6. Oh, okay. And now this is, yeah. Every color is a different area. There you have it. And maybe in order to see it, I could also switch that. In order to see it, I would have to disable the dummy renderer, and I'm gonna have the slow renderer now. Let's see F6. Okay, and now it's also shaded. Is oh, and it crashed. Try to not look up. Now it's again. Every color denotes the new area that starts. Now this is very many times subdivided, like area 7, 8, 9, 10. This is too much subdivided here. Area, another area. So that when you look here, here, the corridor gradually disappears. And it's funny, when I pressed F6, however, what I did, now the good thing with that, you can draw something. You don't see the moody lighting because now we are on cell mode though. But if I start doing things, I think I'm gonna do some holes so that we get the moody lighting from outside. I'm gonna, now, and I'm gonna press F6. And we have, oh my god, moody lighting from outside. Because by the time you save the mesh, it's gonna calculate the lights. Now the lighting calculation is much faster. Oh, there's some bug there. Or maybe not. Yeah, this is too slow. Now this is... And you see some hole there. Now, I don't know what happens if you press... Let me do something now. Let's go to here. Oh, see. Now the editor doesn't work because you have the job button. We can press... Oh, yeah, now it works. Now I work invisibly. Yeah, and every time I press F6, oh my god, I'm not deleting I'm not resetting things. So now you see, okay, the good news is that the good news is that I'm gonna do moody lighting and press F6. Oh, the good news is I can finally work with something resembling an editor, which needs some work, but I can finally, in much easier way, not with procedural code, but with picking, and I need to fix the issues I have, of course. I could make it that when I save the geometry, it's gonna switch. Now, this is slow because you're not gonna see the moody lighting. If I press F6, you're not gonna see it because unless I make the affine, the texture map, the affine map, I just make some gross shading or something. Unless I alter it. Oh, why am I stuck now? I thought I was. Oh, that's a bug now. I haven't seen that. What's going on? Ah, I pressed F6. That's what happened. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see. Yeah, you have both geometries, both the 3D OMS and the several individual cubes geometry for the editor. Yeah, I can make it that it switches from the cell from the dummy to the cell, show the lighting, go back, clean up. I can make the picker better, make it able to also paint the areas, and I might have to also make it a, make me able to add items, because right now the items are just that init level things. It's just a hard coded number. Add this thing there. Also, when I put the set level player start, I should be able on the editor to set it up, to go in a block and say here is where the player starts. But that's an extra thing. That's an extra thing I can do. And I'm so happy with that. I'm so happy that I need to do the few tweaks on the editor so that I don't have this ugliness. Very little. I can start working. I'm so happy now that I was building stuff and then I pressed F6 and then you see the moody lighting. You see the lighting is automatically calculated. It calculates this this block when it builds the mesh for the 3DO, the actual optimized mesh, and not the crap that I do for the editor. And when it builds it, it calculates, okay, this face on the grid on the wall. This block, how much light does it accumulate from outside, from the sky, from the other blocks that are emitters and so on. And it's really like ambient occlusion or something, sort of. It's yeah, it's kind of crude with the resolution, but I'm so happy to see it. And that means we are progressing well, and soon I will be able to start building actual. I'm gonna scrap these procedural maps, of course. These are only for test. I'm gonna start from place the editor in some solid box and start digging corridors and shit. I just need to do the area thing. That's the one that scares me a bit. How to visualize the area so that I can add later areas. I can index it. The area is in indexing for visibility. And anyway, guys, that's it. These are the for me it's exciting news about Bizarro and the Good. The editor is almost there, the most important thing. And the 256-bit area indexing, some loading issues I had with polygons disappeared near, they are almost 99% fixed. All the technical stuff here, the non-technical are there. They are insignificant. I might not even. And that's it. Bye.